Now we're talking about the virtues, what makes a belief good, and truth is kind of a funny one because obviously we would like our beliefs to be true and we like to believe true things and only believe true things. But somehow we don't have this direct access to the truth most of the time, and we have to kind of take a back seat to looking for true propositions, but we go for the best possible belief we can have. We decide to what to believe based on what it is for us to have good reason, to be reasonable in believing. So reasonableness is really the virtue of belief that we're really worried about. I shouldn't say we'd like to get at truth, but we do think that it leads us to truth, reasonableness, and a belief is reasonable if and only if it has adequate support. We went through this last time. Adequate support depends on, the evidence, the weight of the evidence that we have. Now, we make a distinction between an empirical belief and a conceptual belief. An empirical belief is something about the way the world is. That the dog is on the rug, the door is open, things like that. And for an empirical belief like that, for us to be reasonable in believing it, for a belief to be reasonable, it would have to have support from the evidence, or you're making an inference from other evidence that you have. The door is open. I left the door open because I knew somebody was coming into the house afterwards. So I left the door open, so my memory gives me my evidence. But that's what, so for an empirical belief, we need some kind of evidence, sometimes we say observation, but there are other beliefs that we might call conceptual beliefs. Beliefs about mathematics, 2 plus 2 is 4, conceptual beliefs, even things like bachelors are unmarried. That's a belief about concepts. And these are things that all you have to have is good reasons, and the reasons could be kind of between your two ears, that you've thought about it. Conceptual beliefs a little bit easier to come by. Empirical beliefs, you actually need to go out and look for other evidence or make an inference from evidence that you have. And the interesting thing about reasonableness, to contrast it with truth, is truth is an all or nothing deal. Either it's true, that's the way the world is, or it's not true, that doesn't describe the way the world is. Reasonableness, by contrast, comes in degrees. Okay, so just to summarize it again, we have two kinds of reasonable beliefs. One, empirical belief, which we need support by the evidence, or we take evidence that we have and we make inferences from it. That's what makes an empirical belief reasonable. And a conceptual belief is something that we can it's reasoning alone. We just think about it, and reasoning alone gives us, makes, I should say, that belief reasonable. So reasonable beliefs are really what we are looking for when we're thinking logically.